Storyboarding is an essential part of filmmaking. All good films start with a good, thorough storyboard. There are 4 types of storyboard: linear, composite, hierarchical, and nonlinear. Each format provides a scaffold for varying styles of film and storytelling. The very first storyboard was developed at the Walt Disney Studios during the 1930s. Disney credited animator Webb Smith created the idea of drawing scenes on separate sheets of paper and pinning them up on a bulletin board in chronological order, creating the first storyboard. They were developed like comics to illustrate concepts like Steamboat Willie. Storyboarding also became popular in live-action film production during the early 1940s and grew into a standard medium for pre-visualization of films. The first movie that used storyboarding as part of the production process was Three Little Pigs, later on used for live-action movies like Gone with the Wind before it became a common process in pre-production. Linear storyboards are one of the most common storyboard formats used. This is because this is the only method in which users can show a large concept in smaller segments through visual representation. It's also the most appealing, making it easier to understand for the viewer. And linear storyboards are really useful for film and television. They are a powerful way to represent visually information in chronological order. Linear storyboard helps the user organise the flow of information into bite-sized chunks, allowing the viewer to focus on each section separately. This format of storyboarding can be seen and used everywhere, for example in filmmaking and television, as I just mentioned. You are given the opportunity to do this as part of your assessment in Term 1 when you're making your films. Storyboarding can also be seen in story writing to help showcase a series of events or even a business plan. Okay, so we have linear storyboards next. No, we have composite storyboards. Okay, so composite storyboards are a hybrid form of storyboarding. They contain elements from linear and also non-linear forms, and as you can see in the diagram, it's really useful when you're trying to tell multiple stories at the same time. Very often you'll find composite storyboards used in games and gaming when you can take your own path. And so therefore, instead of telling a linear story, the storyboard will allow the user to go whichever path they want to. So composite storyboards are very handy to go in a non-linear path through a choose your own adventure style adventure. Okay, hierarchical storyboarding is most frequently used in choose your own adventure games. It is useful in connecting home pages and also web pages. It is useful for connecting home pages to other subcategories and pages. It starts with an index page that branches out to other pages. Hierarchical storyboards have many different paths, allowing the user to take whichever path they choose. You'll find it's very similar to a composite storyboard. In fact, a composite storyboard is a combination of a hierarchical and linear storyboard. But you'll see in the top right-hand diagram, or all the diagrams, the hierarchical storyboard starts at one page and goes down to another page, or goes to a choice of pages. That second page has a choice of pages. Those pages have a choice of pages, which is quite limiting in the sense you only have one full path. You can only take one path through the full story, as opposed to a composite storyboard that allows for many paths. Ultimately, the user will circle back to the starting page in a continuous loop, creating a complex flow of events. Hierarchical storyboarding is seen in the film Clue, based on the board game Cluedo, while multiple scenes are presented to the audience much the same way as the nature of the games, or of the board game. A non-linear storyboard is a storyboard that does not follow traditional methods of storytelling. These storyboards consist of scenes cutting backwards and forwards, presenting the story out of order. Best example of that is, of course, Pulp Fiction. Eventually, the scenes fit together to make some semblance of sense, like a puzzle, in the sense of conjoining scenes in chronological order. An example of this could also be seen in the film Inception. So different storyboards used for different purposes, for different meanings, for different reasons. And when you're choosing the nature of a project or the nature of a product, you would use the right storyboard for that product at the right time.